Hello everybody, welcome to my second beading tutorial. In this tutorial, I'm going to show everybody how you do a type of edging. So this type of edging is called picot edging. You do this when you have finished an earring or whatever beaded piece that you're making and you want to attach the beadwork to the back. So I've already attached my vinyl backing with my post. I add a little bit of glue to the post, so that's why it's sticking on right now, but it also needs to be sewed on. So we sew it on with beads to make the edging, make it look super pretty. So I'll just go ahead and start. I'll explain first that usually you're going to be adding 2 beads on every time, with the exception of the first and the last bead. So I have threaded my needle and my string, put a little knot on the end and cut off the excess. You know, I could cut off a little bit more of that excess. There we go. And so first you put your needle through the beadwork. From the front to the back. Some people do it from the back to the front, but this is the way I do it. So you're coming out from the back now. You're going to add your very first bead. So again, like I said, usually we're adding 2 beads at a time, with the exception of the first and the last bead. So here we go with the first bead. You grab 1 bead and then you go again from the front to the back. So pull that first bead. And then you're going to come up from the bottom of the first bead. You put your needle through and then pull it all the way. Then you're going to get it sticking up nice and straight, and your thread is coming out of that last bead. So you always want your thread coming out of the last bead. So again, like I said, you're adding 2 beads every time, with the exception of the first and the last bead. So I'm going to video this entire process, so you will see how to end it off. This is how you start it off. So now that you have your first bead, you can go ahead and add 2 beads. And again, you're going to go from the front to the back. I usually put it about half a bead's width apart. And then you push your needle through again, just the same as you started it off, and you're going to come up through, just through the last bead. So you don't go through both of the beads, just the last bead. So you pull your string up, and then you have that last bead sticking up nice and straight. This is what we want it to look like. So there we have our first one done. We're going to do the same all the way around this earring, and I will show you how to end it off. So this video is going to be a little bit long, because what I found really helpful when I was learning how to do picot edging was being able to watch the process. So if you haven't done this, definitely watch the video all the way through. It really etches the process in your mind. So I will just video the whole process of edging this, and I will show you how to end it off when we get to that part of the video. So again, front to back, you're pulling it through and coming up through that last bead. So adding 2 more on, front to back, and coming up through that last bead. So it's going to be the same process all the way around. So what you'll find super helpful is making sure that your backing is cut really nicely along your beadwork, because it just helps the beads lay better. So I'm just going to make a little adjustment here. And keep going with this beadwork. So picking up 2 beads, coming from the front to the back, and then coming up again through that last bead. 2 beads on from the front to the back, and then coming up through that last bead. Having a good consistency about the spacing in which you're putting your needle through. So again, like I said, I'm trying to do it 1/2 beads width apart. You'll find that it lays a lot nicer when you have more of a consistency. Some people like to do it closer or farther apart, and you'll find out what works best for you. Definitely closer is better. If you get it too far apart, your beads kind of won't lay the way we're trying to get them to. So to have that one bead sticking out at the top, closer is actually better. So again, 2 beads from the front to the back, and then coming up through that last bead. When I first started beading out, this was my favorite part, is doing the edging. It was almost soothing. So the type of beads that I'm using for this are size 10 seed beads. I also like to use Toho beads. They're actually my favorite because they have a really good consistency in size, and they lay super nice when you edge with Tohos. But check beads are good too. So again, this type of edging is called peacock edging. Two beads from the front to the back, and then coming up through that last bead. Two beads from the front to the back, and then coming up through that last bead. So again, these are size 10 seed beads. You can use different kinds of beads for this type of edging. And if you want to make your edging super fancy, you can add bigger beads, and you can again do the same process with the bigger bead going first. You can even alternate colors. Like for example, if I wanted to do gold at the top and black at the bottom. The bead that is gonna stick out is the top bead here. Oops, the top bead here. It's the first bead that you put on. So for example, if you wanted to do black with gold, whichever one you want to be sticking out is gonna be the first bead that you're picking up. And if you want to add bigger beads, you put the bigger bead on first and then you end with a smaller bead. Some nice beads that I like to add to my edging are fire polished beads, rondelles. I love rondelles. And medicine beads like amethyst, jade, adventurine chips. It's always fun to mix out what you're doing with your edging. Edging is kind of one of my favorite things about beadwork. Actually, bugle beads are really, really nice to work with. I can also do another video on edging with bugle beads as well. Okay, so like I said at the beginning of the video, it's the first and the last bead that are different from how you're going to edge the beadwork. So you're adding 2 beads every time with the exception of the first and the last bead. So I'm getting close to the end here. I think I'll just do one more set of 2 and I'll show you how it looks at the end of that. So if you look at the beadwork now, if I were to just end it there, there would be that one gap where there's no bead sticking out. So that is why we're doing it differently for the very last bead and why we did it differently for the very first bead. So you're just adding 1 bead, 1 single bead, and then you go down through your first bead. So you're coming through your last bead, you add 1 bead, and then going down through your first bead. And then you pull that one and there you go. And it looks just the same as the rest. Then you can just push it down from the front to the back. If you want to make it a little bit more secure, you can go up again through the beads. So you go up and then you can go through and down just to make it a little bit more secure before you cut it off. And then you come through again. This is how I do mine. Come through the back, just give it a little snip, and then fire magic, and you're done. And that is how I do my edging. I hope this tutorial was helpful for everybody. I definitely have a lot of more tutorials that I want to do in the future. Please do follow me on Instagram at Cheyenne Spirit Creations. I'm on Facebook. I have a Facebook group, so you have to search for that one when you get into Facebook. It's Cheyenne Spirit Creations, and I'm also on TikTok, Cheyenne Spirit Creations. So now my set is complete. I just need to add the necklace to this. It's going to be hat and earring set. This is the hat that's done, but that's another video. So subscribe definitely to this channel if you want to see more beading tutorials. If you have anything specifically that you would like me to do, definitely leave it in the comment section, and thank you so much for watching.